time for the one time. It's the family bloodline.
You know, one day I'm going to allow that whole theme song to play.
Okay.
It's pretty lengthy, but it's worth
Yeah.
it's worth a listen. So
I just appreciate the fact that you actually got good pictures of me, man. Like I was too mesmerized looking at myself. I forgot there was music attached to it. There's music in the theme song?
Wow,
I didn't even know.
that's-
Didn't even
I
know.
mean, arrogant lately, but nah, not really, huh?
Hey, if you don't believe in yourself, who else is gonna do it, bro?
This is facts. This is facts. All facts. All facts. All right, I'm waiting for him to get situated. Let's bring him on in. Let's bring him on in.
Richard Rich.
Yeah. What's
Richard
good?
Rich.
What's good?
Won't it?
Welcome back. Welcome back. So we took a break last week. I was out in
We
Cali,
did.
down in Anaheim, doing some things, doing some knocking out some interviews and all that other good stuff. And if you haven't seen them yet, by all means, get on YouTube and hey Juan and look at Jay Glass the Movement, and you can see a lot of the clips actually on the Family Bloodline on Instagram, Facebook, so on and so forth. Then I'm posting full interviews later on this week. But man, talk about a blast and talk about some work being put in, all that good stuff. All that good
Yes.
stuff was running. So what have y'all been up to? What about y'all? Deuce?
I know. Yeah, well, I got a question. So, Jay Glass, the Movement, is that a carryover from your days being a private dancer?
Say that again, my bad.
Let me grab the mic. The Jay Glass, the Movement name, is that a carryover from your days when you were a private dancer?
Fortunately not.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
No.
I was trying to think about there's many like definitions I could come up with movement, right? So I was that's one that popped in my mind. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. I can't call my cousin by the nickname. Oh, okay. My feelings is about to be hurting. Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I started that, man. Let's just say it's been a whirlwind for 2025, man. This roller coaster ain't over, baby. It's just getting started. You know, you're on a roller coaster and you get to the peak, bruh. We just got the seatbelt on, man. We ain't even got to the peak yet. So let's just say I'm enduring, man. I'm enduring.
Okay. All right. Rich, how about you?
Let's get to it.
Oh, that's where we are then.
Let's get to it.
Okay. All right. Well, then that will be the first movement. And we'll push forward and transition to the first topic, which is going to be the executive orders. The executive orders. So I'll read the executive orders as they are right now, and as the list that I've found. Okay. And we'll taper off into some of them. If anybody wants to know a bit of a brief overview of them, let me know, and I'll stop for a second and actually read the brief description that it has. But we're just gonna look at some of the quick ones. We'll read the list, right, and then we'll circle back around. We'll circle back around, and then I'm reading Wanda's comment. And then get into some other topics. It's your name now.
Oh yeah, I see what she put, Sir. Oh, it's supposed to be Sir's Lawanda.
Yeah.
That's her name. So I'm gonna call her Sir's Lawanda. The whole phrase.
Right. I also want to let everybody know that this is non-nicotine. Okay.
Let me see the label.
It's only flavor.
Let me see bro. There's no label on that.
Exactly, because it's non-nicotine. It literally says it.
For it.
Oh no, you ain't gotta take my word. It says it. Zero nicotine.
You come back from Cali, not zero nicotine.
Zero nicotine.
No, okay.
That's the way I'm going now. All right.
Mm,
So between January 20th and January 27th, there have been a barrage of um, executive orders that have come out, and some have been some people have pushed back and said that they were some were unconstitutional, and then some need to be explored a bit more. Right. So here we go, going through the litany. Right now, it says that there's 37 executive orders. This does not include the other policies or memorandums or proclamations that have been pushed out by the administration as of yet either. This is strictly executive orders, and that's all. Excuse me. I not I swallow wrong. Okay, here we go. Unleashing American Energy that came out January 20th, declaring a national energy emergency, putting America first in international environment agreements, unleashing Alaska's extraordinary resource potential, ending the weaponization of the federal government, restoring accountability to policy influencing positions within the federal workforce. What's going on, Ed? Holding former government officials accountable for election interference and improper disclosure of sensitive government information. That's a thing. It's odd that it's coming from this camp, but reforming the federal hiring process and restoring merit to government service, although pretty much nobody who's been pushed into that cabinet has been in there off merit. Ending the radical and wasteful government DEI programs and preferencing. Defending women from gender ideology, extremism, and restoration biological truth to the federal government. Again, these are executive orders that I'm reading, right? And so these are rescinding things. Right? These aren't proclaiming or assisting with the topics that I'm actually reading out. Continuing on, establishing and implementing the President's Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, which Vivek Ramaswamy, from what I've heard and read, is no longer a part of, or loosely, I think he got nixed. Anyway, that's
Yeah.
another
Correct.
time.
Correct. He left. He left.
He
He left.
Did he leave?
he was
He's
he was
supposed to run
downsized.
for Ohio governor.
He was downsized.
downsized. Yeah.
It's downsized. That's expeditiously downsized when things started going. Anyway, and restoring the names that honor American greatness. So just to read into that a little bit, this order directs the Secretary of the Interior in the next 30 days to rename the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America and Alaska's Denali Mountain, Mount McKinley, after former President William McKinley. It also orders the appointment of members to the U.S. border on geographic names who will be sympathetic to Trump's policies.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to make it longer. Okay.
Okay. All right. Restoring freedom of speech and ending federal censorship.
Mhm.
America First policy directive to the Secretary of State.
Mhm.
Yeah. Just looking at this comment real quick, Wanda says, my job has been sending out emails like crazy since this. I can't say that, has been in the office.
He's your commander in chief.
Yeah.
That's true.
Why you got to say it with so much?
Well, I mean, that's
I know, man, but it's
True. Yeah.
trying to help you.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do.
There's always somebody like me walking around trying to help you. There's always someone.
Absolutely appreciate it. Absolutely appreciate it. All
Get
right.
your money. Get your money.
Exactly.
Okay.
America First policy directive to the Secretary of State, reevaluating and realigning United States foreign aid, withdrawing the United States from the World Health Organization. Pause for that. I'll let you read that comment. I got to keep focusing on these executive orders. Clarifying the military's role in protecting the territorial integrity of the United States, realigning the United States Refugee Admissions Program, protecting the meaning and value of American citizenship, securing our borders, restoring the death penalty and protecting public safety, protecting the American people against invasion, designating cartels and other organizations as foreign terrorist organizations and specially designated global terrorists, protecting the United States. What's going on, Miss Organ? protecting the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats. Application
China.
application of protecting Americans from foreign adversary controlled applications act to TikTok.
Red note.
It's it's an ongoing thing. Initial recessions of harmful executive orders and actions. Designations of Ansar Allah as a foreign terrorist organization. Removing barriers to American leadership in artificial intelligence, which is scary. That's Skynet to me.
Hold up. Reread that one.
Yeah, removing barriers to American leadership in artificial intelligence. So to go in a little bit on what that means is this executive order follows President Trump's actions to rescind President Biden's 2023 executive order on AI and looks at ways to further rescind AI policies established under the Biden administration. The EO will revoke past government policies that act as barriers to AI innovation, and it says we must develop AI systems that are free from ideological biases or engineered social agendas, which is saying
Skynet live.
Skynet live, and it's also being able to program AI to think, act, feel, and believe like the creator, like their. Anyway, so when I was in college, my major was in psychology, right? And I wanted to continue and further that in psychology because I wanted to have a special emphasis in artificial intelligence. And the reason why I wanted to do that is because the understanding of how the software or how AI is programmed is that it's going to be programmed with biases, not just simple human biases, but the actual programmer's biases. So anybody that's writing that code or that software is able to actually plug in, put in to that AI system anything that it would want. And the reason why this could be dangerous potentially is because it could spell out harm if AI is pushed out to act as or in the stead of policing activities. And I'm actually going to continue that whenever I'm able to. Anyway, pushing forward. Declassification of records concerning the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Ron F. Kennedy, and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther Jr.
Robert.
What did I say?
Robert. You said Ron. Robert.
Yeah, Senator Robert. So it's both John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy. I said what?
I thought you said Ron.
Oh, thanks for the correction. My bad. Thanks for the correction.
Well, because you never know when family members may be watching. We don't want to be disrespectful. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And that was a mistake. Yeah, Robert F. Kennedy and the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Strengthening the American leadership in digital financial technology, enforcing the Hyde Amendment, emergency measures to provide water resources in California and improve disaster response in certain areas, council to assess the Federal Emergency Management Agency. That's going to have everything to do with doing away with FEMA, the Iron Dome for America, restoring America's fighting, prioritizing military excellence and readiness, reinstating service members discharged under the military's COVID-19 vaccination mandate. And those are the current, those are the current executive orders that have been pushed out. Again, that's none of the proclamations or any other memorandum that have come from the administration since January 20th as well. I should have brought some water down here. But as we both know, maybe all three of us know, DOD civilians got a shock today. I didn't hear that, but it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me. You should look into the story behind Mount Rushmore. It'll probably upset you why that it's even a thing, if you don't know it already, because you might.
No, what is it? The story behind it?
The story behind Mount Rushmore is that land was actually deemed or considered essentially holy land by the natives in that area.
Where's Mount Rushmore at? What state?
It is
North Dakota.
North Dakota. And I almost said Nebraska. I don't know why.
Okay.
But it's North Dakota. And before the faces got put on that mountain was actually considered sacred. It was considered.
Oh, wow.
But McKinley, wait a minute. He's not one of the presidents on Mount Rushmore. McKinley's not.
No. So the McKinley Act is for Alaska.
For Alaska. Thank you. Okay. Yeah.
That's going to be for Alaska. Yeah. So yeah, like Wanda's saying, it's indigenous persons. It's part of their holy land, and it was always revered. since the invasion of the Americas and the laws, as we know it today, unfortunately, it was taken over, and the faces of the presidents were etched onto that actual mountain.
That mountain.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm asking that, when you're the winner of a war, you call the shots. You do what you want to do. You make
Mhm.
laws, you break laws, you make treaties, you break treaties when you run the game, and you're victorious. So, you know, the Europeans don't care what the land was used for. If the Native Americans lost the war, then you're going to pay the ultimate price. Other people tell me the ultimate price was those who came over as enslaved Africans. I'm told that that was the ultimate price. So I have people from being enslaved, the descendants of the enslaved African telling me one thing, and I have Native Americans telling me something else.
Yeah. And so it's all relative, right? Depending on who you're talking to and who is actually telling the story. So a part of a movement of civilization, if you study the movement of the Moors and how they actually conquered most of the European area, France, uh, Italy, so on and so forth, you can actually see the civility and the intelligence of a people, right? Because they didn't force them to become or force them to act as. They allowed them to keep their own customs and traditions, right? They set up different government systems. They began to set up colleges and educate people after they conquered their lands, right? That's the expansion and the movement of the wars. Now, the expansion and the movement of the Americas, unfortunately, is nothing more or less than a story of trickery, bribery, lies, and savagery. And it wasn't by the Native Americans or the indigenous, right? And so it's not that they didn't care who the land or what the land was used for, is that they absolutely knew what the land was used for and decided to be as disrespectful as they could and put faces on that mountain.
And I would add to that, as someone told me years ago, someone who was actually a retired military. In England, throughout all of Europe, they have land titles because the land is scarce. So you put titles on your land. And if you and I speak the same language, it would benefit us to work together to keep somebody else from another land coming to take us over. But in Africa and in Asia, there weren't any land titles. And if I didn't get along with you, I could just move a few feet over and call it a day.
Yeah.
So was no need for land titles. So when they came to America, they didn't see the Native Americans having land titles because they said the land belongs to the creator, and they're right. The Europeans didn't, that's not part of their religious experience.
Yeah.
That's just what they say. I can see both sides.
Okay. Well,
You got to win the war. So, even when they tell the descendants of the enslaved African, well, y'all lost. You sold yourself into slavery. Not every enslaved African was sold by another African. Some were actually taken.
yeah.
So now you have a mixture. But I'm told every single day, get over it.
Mm. And the question is though, and the question that I continuously have is, when did they actually know that they were in a war? The natives. When did they know that they were in a war? Right?
I
Because
think it depends which tribe you ask. Some
absolutely,
tribes,
I agree. Absolutely, it does. Especially if you talk to somebody from the five civilized tribes, it's going to look different. I mean,
uh,
of course, you can't talk to anybody else because everybody else just about got wiped out or exterminated.
well, as some Native Americans will tell you, they don't like when we say the five civilized because they say, well, who civilized them?
I know. That's
And
why.
who are we to call them civilized? Because then they would say the colonizer gave them that term because certain tribal chiefs made agreements.
Yep. And I agree with you 1,010%. I used the term on purpose.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I honestly did. That's why I said it depends on who you talk to from the five civilized tribes.
Right, but you got tribes outside of that civilized who say we're just as civilized as they are. But who is someone else to tell me that I'm civilized or uncivilized? Because I'm going by the European yardstick and not by the Native American yardstick, or for that matter of fact, we're not even going by the African yardstick.
Yeah. So it was done on purpose. I'm glad you picked up on it, but that is exactly why I did it and said it. That's exactly why I did it and said it. So those are the executive orders that we have been given thus far. And of course, there's a lot of pushback. There are a couple of federal judges who have begun to block some of the executive orders that have been pushed out. So with that being said, we will switch over to one of the things that the executive orders has mentioned, and it's affecting American citizens right now, as well as undocumented persons in America, and that is immigration. Go ahead. I see. Go. You there. You there. You might as well.
Because I see liberty, and I don't disagree on some of the things that I see liberty on, and I don't disagree with La Marie. But I want to be crystal clear. I said this many, many years ago. If you want to stop the drug cartel, use our United States military. But I'm biased. I'm biased. And no, see, liberty, hold on a second. Don't try to generalize us all, because I don't want tampons in little boys' restrooms. Oh, we'll get to that in a second. Okay, liberty. But I want to say I am glad that this President Trump, has declared those drug cartels in Mexico terrorist organizations, send our troops down there and clean it up. And you'll know how clean it gets. Huh?
I'm listening.
You'll know how clean it gets when they stop all the drugs from coming to into our American cities, because we'll be affected first.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So I know we were talking about immigration. But I'm gonna pivot to this: sitting the military down and fighting the cartels.
Okay.
We all basic economics, man. Supply and demand, right? We're not going to kill the supply. We're not taking out the supply. We got to tackle the demand. America has the largest demand for illegal drug use in the world.
Wow. Okay, I see where you're going with this.
That's why everyone wants to come here to sell to us. We're the customer, we're the client, right? So that's one thing. So we got to kill the demand here. Several ways to do that. 2, America's military has not yet won a successful war against guerrilla tactics. We go down to Mexico. It's going to be a long, drawn-out war. They're going to use guerrilla tactics against us. We're not fit for that fight.
Strongly, respectfully, must disagree 1000%. First of all, if you say we got to stop the demand, until you create a new financial structure in America, there will always be a demand. Because as long as you don't have jobs in the African-American neighborhoods, there will always be a demand for something illegal to make quick money. This is where I'm going to give President Trump his just due.
I'm listening. Please.
You must stop drugs from coming to America. That's just the first step. Well, then that step is more vital than any other step. You stop the drug.
Let me insert.
No, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Stopping the drugs from coming inside of the United States. I would think that that's actually an internal governmental issue with one of the 3-letter agencies that actually imports that product. We never brought anything in. Let's talk about the 80s and how it got into the neighborhoods at one point. We didn't do that. That was brought over. It was allowed to be brought over, and it was pushed and shoved to help bolster and boost different points of economic power for other peoples and to help actually destroy and divide. We didn't do that.
One quick point.
Yeah.
Since you say that, and that is factually true, that's not a conspiracy. That is factually true. Whether it was through the Vietnam War or through the 80s with the CIA, This is why your commander-in-chief says he wanted to create a whole new style of government and stop the old status quo. So when you say that, you're actually supporting President Trump.
It's not that I'm supporting or pushing against him. What I'm actually doing is saying if you want to stop it, we have to begin to look at where the root issue, where it comes from first off.
And he's addressing that as well.
I wholeheartedly disagree.
Go
ahead.
You cannot have the strongest military on Earth, in this planet, and say we can't win this war because it may be a guerrilla warfare. That's a lie. Because I have confidence in myself.
Okay, I'm gonna push back on that. List one war that we've won using what guerrilla tactics were used against us. So two things could be true. We have the strongest military on this sphere. True. We are not equipped to fight guerrilla warfare, especially in somebody else's land.
No, that's inside. No, that's what I call a weak mindset. We can go anywhere, anytime, any place. Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, U.S. Space Force. We can go anywhere, anytime, and get the job done. No,
so we can go anywhere, anytime.
Hold on, wait a minute.
But
we don't offer excuses.
Vietnam, the Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq. You gonna tell me we won those wars? Where's Saigon?
We didn't want to win those wars. Because when you have as many nuclear bombs as our country had, wait a minute. When you have as many nuclear bombs as our country, along with our fighting force, along with our men and women, and a few transgendered, if they're still allowed to be in, get to that in a second. We have what it takes, period. So I don't want to hear about we can't go down to Mexico and clear out them drug lords. That's a lie.
Brother Rich, I'm going to tell you this. The nukes, you list nukes, and it's null and void.
All right, take it off the table.
Destruction.
Take it off the table.
Take it off the table. Right?
Okay, we have enough.
What's the other thing you listed?
Firepower.
We've always had more firepower. There is not another army on earth that can match us bullet for bullet, gun for gun, knowledge for knowledge, tech for tech. That's not the issue, my man. We can win conventional warfare. To take over and get rid of the cartel in Mexico, it's going to take an elongated stay in Mexico. We're not designed for that. We're designed to come in. We're Mike Tyson. The U.S. military is Mike Tyson. We could come in, we could knock you on your ass. However, you want to go 12 rounds and talking about changing the political structure of another country? That's not the military.
Hold on,
we have now won that.
Wait a minute. No. See, now I'm going to call you military card. See, hold on a second now. We gave our life to this country. Some are still giving their life to this country. Don't tell me what we can't do. If you can put a man allegedly on the moon, allegedly we can send people out
we went to the
space.
Moon.
Allegedly,
we went to the
I
moon.
guess it's factually. I don't know.
You said a lot of words. We went to the moon.
If I can get on the cell phone and call somebody in China, don't tell me we can't stop illegal drugs from entering our country. That's a lie, and I'm not going to accept that lie. And I'm not going to accept that you cannot secure our U.S. border when you can ship $8 billion, $20 billion, $50 billion to another country to rebuild that country, but you can't secure your border. That's a lie.
You're moving.
Here's the question that I have then. What country in the world has done it?
What country in the world calls itself the world's leader? Only we do. So when you call
Rich,
don't
pivot. Don't pivot, my man. Don't pivot.
No,
what country has done it?
When you call yourself the world's leader, when you call yourself
this ain't ESPN, the world leader.
Yes, it does. Yes, every U.S. president said, including Barack Obama, we are the world's leader.
Sure, and I will echo
that. And that's from the European Manifest Destiny when they came over here and said, we taking all this. Because our God and our Jesus and our angels, that when we go to Rome, they're all portrayed as being white folks. And so in Manifest Destiny, we can do what we want to do.
I got something for you. The country on earth that has the tightest borders. I'm talking about tight borders, bro. Tighter than, no, I don't want to get canceled. Tight borders, right? North
Thank you.
Korea.
Yeah.
North Korea, ironclad, right?
Yeah.
To prevent their citizens from getting out. Yet,
Mhm.
they still getting out. Numbers have dropped, sure. Deaths have went up, sure. But people are still escaping North Korea. Now, they have the most secure border on earth. If they still can't prevent people, whole people, from getting out, America, that would never have a completely shut down border, is not going to be able to prevent drugs from getting in. That's why we're tackling the wrong end of the equation.
No,
Sure,
you-
we could do
no,
more stuff
no.
to push. We could do more stuff to push Mexico. I think somebody left a comment. Invasion is whoo, that's
No.
a can of worms,
Oh,
right? We
I-
can do other things, but we
Uh-huh.
need to educate our people.
Wait a minute,
That's
hold on
what
a
we're
second,
not
hold on a
doing.
second. First of all, I did say you do both. But see, they were talking about education back in Ronald President
They ain't
Nixon.
do it,
They
man.
ran- hold on a second.
I ain't talking about
They-
drug education. I'm talking about holistic education.
No, wait a minute. President Nixon, before they ran him out of office, he was going
He
to
ran
put the
himself.
shutdown on illegal drugs coming to America. They got him out of there. And when Reagan got in, he said through his wife, just say no. And where did that get us? Nowhere. Okay? You got to stop that supply. And then you have to also work on the demand. It's not no one single solution.
So
So when
I'm
you
not
say,
saying it is. But invading Mexico is not part of the solution.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. Wait a minute. You never heard me say invade another country. I said stop.
How are we going to have military
America.
action in the cartels if they reside in Mexico without invading Mexico?
Hold on
We
a
gonna play
second.
risk?
I said stop the drugs from crossing into the border. Send our troops to the border.
Right.
If the Mexican
Okay.
cartel wants to engage, let's engage. But I can guarantee you this. There is a reason why the quote liberals and the Democrats, aka the losers of this election, lost. Because they didn't talk with enough strength of their convictions. And as long as you keep saying, oh, we have to do it like this and we have to do it like that. No, stop the pussyfooting around. This is the U.S. military. This is what we're doing. This is how we're going to do it. If you're not ready for this sign up that you voluntarily signed up for, get your ass up out of here. We don't need you.
There's a difference between talking tough and actually being that. And when the tough person walks in a room, nobody has to say it. The tough person doesn't have to say it either, because everybody knows. It's usually the mother. It's usually. I'm trying to calm myself down. It's usually the loudest guy in the room. That's the softest, and they're talking loud so that you won't test them, so they don't end up in front of nobody's.
Well, wait a minute. That ain't what Muhammad Ali said. Muhammad Ali did his own "I am the greatest."
Yeah, and then
Theodore Roosevelt said,
manifested.
Roosevelt said, talk softly and carry a big stick. I mean, we can
You
go
can do
quote
both.
for quote with
You
people.
can do both. It
You-
depends on your management style, your management leadership.
You can absolutely do both. What I'm saying is, however,
No, wait, we can't do both in America now. It's only one or the other. Oh, y'all talking about? Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. My bad.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
what I'm saying is the posturing that we're doing right now is it's a bit overinflating for some, and we don't have to do as much. Do I agree with troops on the border? Kind of no, but I understand the mission and the intent of it. Is it going to actually do anything? Probably not, outside of stop people from coming over a little bit. Again, just like I asked you, name one country that has stopped illegal drugs. I'll ask you another question.
Hold on a second. Wait a minute.
Hold
you
on.
don't have all this drug problems in China.
Let me ask this. Let me.
No. You don't have all these drug problems in China.
Give me a second. Okay. What president in the United States has fixed the border?
That's an excuse. I'm not dealing with excuses. What I'm talking about is right now.
How is that an excuse?
Donald Trump
That's a
ran.
question.
I'm going to fix the border. That's what he ran on. Economics.
Okay.
Fix the border.
We're talking about the border, right? And when people talk about the border, they're talking about the land side, right? Let's build the wall. Bro, we got planes. They got tunnels. I mean, come on. And then you're building a wall along Mexico, Florida, all the others, Alabama, Mississippi, anything that touches the body of water south of America, whatever touches that body of water there, they can fly it in, man. There's multiple ways to get it in America. So that's what I'm saying. Outside of completely shutting down the border, which will be disastrous to the American economy, it's not going to happen.
It's not.
See, but that's a defeatist attitude, and that's why drugs. Hold on, wait a minute. That's why drugs has continued to prosper in this country, because we've never had a U.S. president to say, you know what, we're going to take our troops and we're going to stop this nonsense. So
how's that
if you say, well, it's over,
we're shooting planes out the air. How are you going to stop the planes?
If that's what it takes.
You taking engineers, putting in.
Wait, hold on, wait a minute. No, see, here's the problem with this mindset. When Israel needs our help, we send them billions. When they put their planes in the air to go strike at Iran or anybody else, America says,
"That's a false.
Good job."
That's a false equivalency. Those two don't match. Those two don't match. They honestly don't.
Rich knows that. He knows that. Rich knows what he's doing, man.
And again, like Wanda said on Facebook, the issue with America is we love drugs. We love drugs. That's the honest to God's truth. We love drugs. As a society, we love drugs and we love alcohol. We love white sugar, sucrose. That's just as addictive as cocaine. We love that stuff. And so
social media.
The only thing that's going to happen with trying to restrict drugs from coming into America is the price is going to go up and people are going to want to buy them even more.
I disagree.
Okay.
And the prices go up, violence is going to go up.
No. See, I understand where you're coming from, but for once, no. Then if that's how you really feel about this country, then you should never vote again, because in all actuality, you've already given up. See, this is the thing. Hold on, listen. When people tell me, well, everybody doing it, so I figured I'd give me a little hit, see what I could do, and then your ass is hooked for the next 30, 40 years. Because you didn't have the desire, you didn't have the willpower. But here's the thing about willpower, about stopping the demand. It comes down to the environment versus nurturing. This is taught in college. What's more detrimental? The nurturing from mom and dad or that environment? And I'm going to tell you religiously, it's the environment. If your environment has no jobs, few jobs at all, low-paying jobs, I don't care what you tell that kid. They're going to end up on drugs. They're going to be addicted to alcohol. They're going to be having kids out of wedlock. Oh, yes, they will. Because your environment will override what your mom and daddy.
That doesn't explain why there's white suburbanite kids who do drugs at the exact same proportion as.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute.
That doesn't explain.
Hold on. Wait. I never said that the white kids in the suburbs didn't do as many drugs as those in the inner city. That's not what I said.
So are you making the point?
No, what I'm saying is in the inner city, if you're going to really, really change that environment, you got to stop those drugs first. And then you got to provide jobs in those communities. Because if you don't, what was happening in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s are still going on today, and it will never, ever change, period.
Rich, okay. We've already talked about you can't just shut down the border. It will be disastrous to America, right? The cost to win that war is astronomical, right?
Well, wait,
the sacrifice in America to shut down the border.
No, there's no cost, because as we said before,
there's no cost to shut down the border.
Hold on a second, Deuce. Your money is printed out of thin air. So if you can send billions upon billions across to another country, then don't tell me you don't have enough money to secure your border, because your money is not weighed
shutting down
anything but
I'm talking about closing off the border. Closing off the border.
Perception.
That's the only
your
way
money
to slow
is not
down.
Value at all. So you can't send money to Israel.
That's another argument.
See, you walk yourself.
That's
into
another
this.
argument.
Hold on, no.
I didn't walk into that.
You can send billions to Ukraine. You can send billions to Ukraine and say, Ukraine, don't let Russia run you over. But when it comes to your own country, you say, well, we can't afford that. That's some bullshit.
I didn't say that.
That's why a lot of these folks put Donald Trump.
That's not what I said. I said is, you want to shut down the whole border. I said shut down the border is disastrous economically.
Let me tell you something else you can do.
Because you're forgetting about planes.
Your money
and you never answer the question. I feel like we're in a Fox News special. Rah, 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 rah. You never answer the question, what country has truly defeated drugs?
That has nothing to do with us. We are the world's leader. What country says we're the world's leader? Nobody but America. So if you don't be the world's leader, back it up. Here, let me calm down for a second. Let me make this real. Let me make this real for you. Check this out. When the people in Hurricane Katrina lost their homes, they were not given any money from the U.S. government to rebuild their homes. But they were black folks, so no one cared, unfortunately. Now, when the white folks on the East Coast got hit by this recent storm, they were poor white. Nobody cared. But when these white folks out here got hit in Palisades, everybody, oh my God, what are we going to do? But the black folks in Altadena, along with the Latinos and a few white people, didn't hear nothing about them. Our government should have money put aside that when you lose your home to a natural disaster and the insurance company, either one, won't cover you, number two, they cancel your coverage before the storm hit, that's in the West Coast, or number three, they say, we don't want to pay, we don't have the money. Where's our U.S. government at to make sure, regardless of your color, if you got hit by a natural disaster and your insurance company said, we don't want to talk to you anymore, the U.S. government should be printing up that money for free and having those homes rebuilt.
Rich, you're ignoring the whole science of economics, man. You can't just print up money.
There is no economics.
Like
this is where they got you tricked.
It's literally a thing that exists.
They got you manipulated, Deuce. They bamboozled you.
It's a thing that exists. You can go on Google and see how much the dollar costs right now. You're trying to have us like Zimbabwe where a slice of bread costs $1 million, man.
No,
and then throwing money at the problem is not just gonna fix it. Hold on, wait. I let you roll. Let me say this. Throwing money at the problem isn't just going to fix it, man. We've had initiatives to give Latin America money to try to tackle the drug problem within their country. They come back and say, hey, yes, we know we have a problem, but listen, America, you have some fiends over there. Fiends. And let's not forget, Latin America's not the only one trafficking drugs into the country. It's America's helping them out, or America's going down there to bring it back because we are fiending. So, yes, I do agree. You got to hit both sides of the problem. I disagree with complete military. You say if the cartels hit us, we go take the cartels. We have to go over there to take the cartels. That's all I'm saying. And shutting down the border is a big ask because you're talking about sky, land, and sea.
And listen to what I said. I never said shut. I said secure. So you're putting words in my mouth. That's what the liberals do. They want to put words in my mouth.
That's an ad hominem. Here's a question. Here's a question.
Secure the border. Secure.
Right. Even with securing the border, here's the question. Who owns the American dollar? It's not the American government. So with the wherewithal that we might be able to contract with the Federal Reserve to print more money, we don't own it.
Nope, you don't have to contract law. See, y'all want to talk about history, but when I go back in history and talk about Abraham Lincoln, and when
hold on, because we can't act as if our government is in control of printing the money, and they're not. They're not in control, just like they're not in control of inflation rates, just like they're not in control of oil prices, just like they're not in control of grocery prices. Right? The president's job is to create an environment to where all of these different sectors can do well and not so much take over just become over capitalist, which is where we're going. We're actually in an oligarchy at this point, but to help provide an actual environment conducive to business. We don't own our dollar. So our government can't just print. If you want to talk to somebody about print, it's going to be Jerome Powell. The guy that Trump can't fire. He can't fire him.
Yes, he can. See, you're wrong. Yes, he can. He can He can get rid of that Fed chair.
No, he cannot. Trump has no authorization over Jerome Powell. None whatsoever.
I didn't say authorization. I said he can fire the Fed chair and get a new Fed chair.
Like, no, he can't.
No, he can't.
He can't do that. The CEO. Federal Reserve does not work for the president of the United States of America.
Who do you think appointed the Fed chair? It was the president of the United States, Pat. Come on,
he
now.
Can't fire him.
Oh my God. Okay.
Jerome Powell just said it not too long ago.
It's just like a president can. A president can appoint a Supreme Court judge. However, they cannot fire a Supreme Court judge.
All right.
It's the same
So hold on.
principle.
Wait. Hold on. The president appoints the Fed chair. Now it says the president may not have the legal authority to dismiss a chair before the end of the term. Although, hold on a second. Although this assumption has never been tested in court, what I'm saying to you is this: the only way the Fed got its power was through Congress. Congress could take the power from the Fed, and we could control printing our money all over again.
But we weren't talking about Congress. We were talking about the president.
Right. But the president appoints the Fed chair when the term ends.
Yeah, and I don't disagree when it comes to Congress.
Right. But if the Congress was to take up a vote right now, they could pull the powers from the Fed and put it back where it should be with the U.S. people, and we should be printing our own money the way President Lincoln was doing with the greenbacks.
We'll disagree on that. That's
Deuce,
another
you don't
topic
know.
for
You
another
just don't
day.
know, Deuce. You don't know, Deuce. I'm just going to tell you
So
that.
what I will say is that if America did own its own dollar, things would be a lot different, like other countries owning their own dollars and their own cents. We don't. So I actually, on that point, Richard, I agree with you. If we pulled back and scaled back and we owned our own money, we could do a lot of things differently. But that's
Hold on. Let me interject right here. So, what's the greatest economy on earth?
an economy that goes without capitalism and still use the barter system. Excuse me. Yeah.
No, who had? Let me rephrase it. Who has the greatest economy on earth? Let me rephrase. You got me correct. Who has the greatest economy on earth?
I would loosely say the United States. Loosely.
Okay, so
the
U.S. has a great. Go ahead.
I said the reason why I say loosely is because we use credit.
Okay, so if we have the greatest economy on earth, we've had the greatest economy at least since World War II. What you guys are advocating is to change the very foundation of that system.
Yeah.
Something that's working and winning to a completely different system.
But I don't.
To Congress, that is always in flux. The reason why our dollar works the way it does, there's many issues with it. It's because it's the stability of the Fed and how the Fed operates.
You've been hoodwinked.
Outside.
You've been hoodwinked.
You just said it's the greatest economy.
No, I didn't say that. When they
Oh, you don't? So what's the greatest economy?
Wait,
no. Before, what do you think is the greatest economy then?
I don't know. It's an opinion. I don't. You could go to some other country and say, hey, they have the greatest economy. I don't get into questions like that. What I'll simply say is this. We had a central bank. We had two central banks. And then with Lincoln, he got us off the central bank. He did the greenbacks, took us out of debt, paid for the war. And then they got him. They killed him, got him out the way. When they reestablished the central bank, they called it the Federal Reserve to make it look like it was going to be part of the government. 1913, December 23rd, the U.S. Congress passed it. Okay? So when you talk about the stability that the Federal Reserve is supposed to offer, but yet in the 1929 Wall Street crash, where was the Fed? Nowhere to be found. In the 1970s, that great crisis, where's the Fed? In the 2000s, the housing bubble, where was the Fed? So the same institution with this private group of bankers that basically dictate the pace of America, you can't find them when things are tough. But yet you want to sit here and defend these individuals who wouldn't even look at you twice.
You're conflating things, right? So we talk about the housing bubble.
Facts.
Listen, you're talking about the housing bubble. The banks themselves, Chase, Bank of America, the one that validated the income of people buying these houses. That had nothing to do with the Fed. The Fed played a part in having very low interest rates. So they were complicit in that regard. But the Feds are not the ones that give us our bets on mortgages. That's what happened.
The Feds are the ones that set the interest rate for the banks to give you your mortgage, Deuce. What are you talking about?
The Fed doesn't.
You know what you're talking about. We're
off topic.
Yeah, we're pushing.
Okay. So, all right. So I want to get back to what I quickly said. I'm glad he's using the troops. Y'all say it probably won't work. Maybe you're right, but at least he's making the effort. Number two, all those military people who had to get out because they wouldn't take the COVID, now they're able to come back in and get the back pay. Perfect.
Explain perfect. Why is that perfect?
Because I told you from a long time ago that COVID situation, if I'm saying the word correctly, COVID, that was all a design plan to see if they could take away our civil rights. And that was leaked purposely out of the Chinese lab after they took it over there. And that Chinese man, that doctor, tried to inform the world, and then they took him out.
So
I'm done.
I think so this is what's actually happening, right? With the memorandums and the information that we saw coming out and being pushed out in the throughout the DOD today, they're bracing for impact because they understand that there's going to be a lot of fallout and they're going to lose a lot of bodies. The move to rescind the COVID information and pull people back in, I think some people will come, but not everybody's going to come because it put a horrible taste in their mouths at that point, and then they've begun to experience a little freedom on the outside. So not everybody's going to run back to the military.
They're coming back. You know why they're coming back? You know why? I'm gonna tell you why. Because they voted for Trump. They'll be back.
So they won't. I was when I was an acting first sergeant at my battalion, before all of this happened, and we were able to we had to call soldiers and let them know that they could actually stay, they can come back. I spoke with a few soldiers, and 100% across the board, 100% of the soldiers that got processed out in my battalion did not come back, and that was the honest truth. They did not come back. And they expressed to me in very vivid detail as to why they would not come back. And it had nothing to do at that point and the position that they were in with who the president was.
I guarantee you that a certain percentage of the service members, because if what I'm reading is correct, those service members would return to their former rank, receive full back pay, benefits, bonus payments, or compensation.
Sure.
I guarantee you, there's folks coming back.
Some
now, maybe only I don't know, 10,000, 20,000 military members actually left because of this situation. I don't know
numbers. That's a good question. I can't remember how many fell out of the ranks throughout the military because of that. But not everybody's coming back. They're just not.
One note I want to say on that: height and weight, ACFT. Right.
Oh my gosh.
There's other barriers to that, right?
And the
drug tests. But I want to go. There's a lot of barriers they got to cross. Still, I do want to go back to. We started off talking about immigration, and we turned left, right? And I think the main gist of the immigration thing was kicking out all of the illegal immigrants in a very forceful, a very front-leaning manner, right? Yeah. And I know we never really got to touch that because we took a detour, but I do want to get back to just see you guys' input on that.
We don't have to live in fear. I'm just saying that. Zoe wanted me to say it, and I want to say that. All right.
Wait a minute. Here's my thing. I saw some of the comments about the Southwest was all Mexican territory. And I respect that. And we don't know if that 35 million got to the Mexican government when our government was supposed to pay them back in the Mexican-American War. I see that. All right. If we have a country and you say it's illegal for you to come to our country if you don't come correctly, whether you're here committing crimes or not, you have broken the law. And I've listened very carefully to what the Democrats and the liberals have said. Well, if someone's been living here for 20 or 30 years, you shouldn't force them to go back to wherever they came from. And I'm not going to say Mexico. It may be China. It may be Guatemala.
It may be Europe.
It may be Europe.
It may be Australia.
You're right. Now, but if you've been living here for that long, but you were still illegal, you have broken the law and you've gotten away with it. So when people say, well, Richard, people coming from Guatemala, they're coming here for a better life, Richard. They're trying to improve themselves. And I said, well, they broke the law coming to the country. And they said, well, have some respect for them, have some mercy for them. They're trying to improve their lives because their country is so torn up. And I think to myself, well, wait a minute. The inner cities across America are all torn up. And when Tyrone tells me I got to sell this kilo of cocaine to make it, I tell Tyrone, okay, Tyrone, I don't know if this is going to work or not long term. So when people start making exceptions for certain lawbreakers, there ain't no exceptions for lawbreakers when they're African American in America. They don't make no exceptions for us because the jails are full of people who look like us or look like a Mexican American, a Latino. So when people say, hey, they've been here long enough, the dreamers didn't have a choice. Hold on, Janelle. You make a great point. The baby or the babies didn't have a choice. So when Maria came over here illegally and had those children, and now Maria has to go back to whatever country, or maybe she went back to Europe or Nigeria or anywhere else, she put those kids in danger. Because she knew when she came to America, she wasn't here illegally. But she knew once she got pregnant in America and had those kids, they're U.S. citizens. And the Supreme Court, allegedly, the Supreme Court will always honor the Constitution and say, if you're born in America, even though your parents were here illegally, you still get U.S. citizenship. We'll see what this particular Supreme Court rules.
Yeah, and so
yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, I have to agree with you, Richard. If you came here and the quest was to actually be legal, right? But it never happened. Well, then unfortunately, you are still undocumented, regardless of how long you've been here.
Quick question, because someone from the Mexican community asked me this question. They said, Richard, why is it those from Mexico, it's so funny to talk about the brick. I was told it cost them like $10,000 a person to become legal in America, but other countries have a lot lower fee. And they said they couldn't understand why those from Mexico who are this close to us have a lot larger fee to become naturalized, a legal citizen, versus those from other countries. I'll stop there.
Okay. Yeah, I don't.
That's a good one.
Never heard about that because they don't talk about that on TV.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
But,
I know there's fees. I didn't know it was different depending on where you go.
Yeah.
All right, here's my thing. So it seemed like you guys are online.
I didn't finish.
Some money. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just.
You know what? Even doing that doesn't even help. That doesn't help anymore. Getting married doesn't help anymore.
Although I do agree that if you're undocumented, you're undocumented. But I also understand the backlog of actually getting to and through the system.
Yeah.
And although our current president is upset with the bishop who asked him to have mercy by way of their shared God, and he felt that it was disrespectful and she used a harsh tone with him, I think it should be taken in consideration because our court system is backlogged. So if you've been here for 30 years and you've been trying to get through the system, that should be looked at, and there should be grace and mercy given, and they should be pushed to the front so these things can actually happen on a positive note.
Well,
but I don't think that's going to happen, unfortunately.
But here's the problem with that.
No, go ahead.
Here's the problem with that. So when dude says, hey, you can't stop drugs, you can't stop illegal immigration. So if you let someone stay here for 20 or 30 years and you cut them a break, then that tells all the rest of them coming across the border, well, I'll come over there and play a coup for 20 and 30 years, and then I can stay there forever too. Oh, I paid $10K to get papers. Okay, Lonzo. Okay.
I don't think that sends the same message. But go ahead, dudes. Go ahead.
Here's my question. What is the statute of limitation on that? How long can a person be here illegally before they're considered they have grace?
Ain't no statute.
So how did John Smith and all them boys on the pier? What is it? Not John, Christopher Columbus. How did Christopher Columbus come over here, do what he did, and it's okay? That's why I asked about statute of limitation. But that's taking it too far back. Let's stick to this country.
But this was not a recognized country. It was not. It didn't have borders.
Not recognizing them. You're right.
Not recognizing them.
Not recognizing them. You're right. Not recognizing people on the boat. Sure.
Yeah.
But hold on. That's not my only point. All right. Two, they talk about the economy because you said Trump ran immigration, economy. I think it was two big things, right? America first, right? Putting America back in the forefront of the world's geopolitics stage, right? Yeah. We can't discount the jobs that illegal immigrants work to keep the capitalist system going. Also, we can't ignore the fact that for a capitalist system to exist, there has to be a lower class.
There has to be.
Capitalists, I don't like capitalism, but that's just how it operates, right? These companies, they take advantage of the lower class to increase and boost their profits. So who, somebody said it, one of the farms, who's going to go work? Man, my mouse way over there. Who's going to work these farms, man? Who's going to pick all this stuff there? Who's going to, and I hate this, illegal immigrants don't only do these jobs, but largely they do. Who's doing the jobs doesn't replace this fact. That's what they do.
Okay, now Deuce. Now you hitting on facts now.
Yeah,
that's straight facts. Here's what I would say. Number one, when they say they do the jobs that nobody else will do, no, people who come over here illegally and get exploited for their labor are doing jobs at a wage that no one else would do. Because we know in the Midwest and the South, a lot of those jobs are done by black folks, and then they got replaced by someone who would work at a cheaper rate, which is takes us back to the Civil War. They wanted to take slavery to the West for free labor. Yeah. And then when they couldn't do that, they said, well, then, black folks got the freedom. And they said, well, black folks ain't going to work like this because they're tired of being exploited. So they said, we'll find somebody else to exploit. So when they come across to the border illegally, they're allowing the gringos to, quote, exploit them. I hate that.
Well, let me
no, you're right.
Let me pull it down in a funnel vision, and I'll tell you who I actually think needs to be arrested and needs to be held accountable for this. And that's the people that are hiring them. That's who needs to actually be arrested. And I know it's a grandiose thought. I get it, because it's actually the billionaires and millionaires that are yelling and screaming at the top of their lungs about deporting. But those are the ones that I think personally should be held responsible. If you've got 10 people undocumented working for you in your house, just around your house, oh, your ass going to jail.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. This is where I'm going to use a Deuce word. It's complicated. And I'm going to tell you, and hold on. I'm going to tell you why.
All right.
Trump wins. All right, great for him. Trump, you just caused your party a hellacious financial problem.
Yeah.
Because you have Republicans on the far right. Are they racist? A couple of them. And they don't want no illegal immigration over here, period. They don't care if you are working in the fields. But you got another part of the Republican Party who wanted Donald Trump in. Janelle, I'm going to get to that point in a second. They wanted Donald Trump in because he's going to help their business interests. But he ain't helping their business interests if they own those large farms and those hotels and everything else that illegal immigrants is working at. But here's the catch. Some of those far right-wing Republicans said years ago, we want to be able to verify every person that works in this country. And the Democratic Party said, hell no. We're not going to let you verify. As long as I show you some type of paperwork that you don't have to verify, I can hire you.
Sure. And I'm not disagreeing with that either, but the statement stands. Anybody that's hired an undocumented person, that's just like buying stolen goods from somebody. You know that shit ain't legal.
Wait. It's even stronger than that, Pat. Listen to this. Janelle, immigrant households pay roughly $579 billion in taxes. Here's the rest of that. If you're here illegally, then you're paying taxes on stuff. But when you pay into Social Security and you're here illegally, you'll never be able to, in your retirement age, collect that money. So you let the gringo or the white man or the European American, or maybe it was a black American, you let him and her off the hook. So you left your country in a bad position. You came to America and got exploited even more than you were in your own country.
Yeah, and again, that's why I say arrest these motherfuckers too, because they know better. They should know better, and they're doing a disservice. They're doing a disservice, right? And it's petting the dog and then turning it around and kicking it. And that's what they're doing to the American public. We got to get them out of here. Hey, Lupe, mira, Lupe, come get this baby. I don't want to.
You know what? Hey, when I took that little class, that Latino history class, back in the 30s, to all my Latinos who are watching, they had this quote, Operation, and I'm saying the word as historical, Operation Wetback. It was a racist situation. They were sending back Mexican Americans who were actually born here back to Mexico.
Yeah.
In this situation, it's critical. It's a little different because of the terrorism from the Middle East. The terrorism from the Middle East, if you don't secure your border, it is national security. Because if I'm a terrorist, and I'm not, and I want to come across to America, I just come through Mexico. And then I just set up shop all throughout America. And when it's time to bomb you, and I would never do this because I love my country, even though my country doesn't really love me first class. But that's what I would do if I wanted to come into this country and blow up this country. I would come through Mexico. Because you're not going to secure the border because dude said we can't secure the border. So I'm just going to walk on in.
But let me also
hold on. Let me clarify this point. I never said don't secure the shut down the border. You were not going to stop the flow of drugs. Now, secure the border, sure. Our resources are finite, right? It's a house. I have an apartment. I can't invite y'all, the 10 people we got watching, and then everybody else into my house and still expect to afford my utility bill, feed them, etc. I understand that. My basic point is we're not stopping the flow of drugs. Now, can we decrease it? Sure. Multiple ways to do that outside of invading Mexico. But going back to the illegal thing, it is complicated, right? Sure, booting them out, it solves something. Don't like the way the narrative is going because they're losing. I forget the poor soul that lost her life in Atlanta to an illegal.
Lincoln
Riley.
Lincoln Riley. Yeah.
Lincoln Riley, right? I hate the narrative that they're using against illegal immigrants, right? Because they're painting them out all to be murderous, bad criminals. That's not the case.
And that's racism,
right?
Yeah, that's racism.
Yeah, and that's what's fueling this mass deportation without thinking about it, right?
Yep.
We do need to control the flow. You're right. We do because our resources are not finite. I hate the narrative.
So let me jump on that point. The whole they're dangerous, so they've got to go point. If we are concerned about the crime that undocumented persons are actually committing, we need to make sure we use that as a broad stroke, and we need to create another island where we send all of our criminals as well, actual criminals, not those that are actually being looked at, their cases are being looked at, and they're actually being found not guilty. Let's go ahead and take some of those, the Madoffs. Let's take the white collar criminals and put them on that island. Let's deport their asses too, right? Let's not just stop it at the criminals, because this whole narrative is backwards, and it's a boogeyman effect. Mm-hmm. It's a boogeyman effect, and it's bullcrap. It's not that undocumented people are committing so much crime. Americans commit thousands of times more crime than undocumented counterparts. They're not undocumented peoples aren't committing crime because they're not trying to get
caught.
Yeah. Like the actual, like, Americans are so fucking stupid when it comes to these types of points. We live in fear. Our country is ridiculously fear-based. And all it takes is somebody doing one or two things, saying how somebody's about to take something away from them, and then use Jesus, and you've got a whole freaking thing. And we're in trouble because nobody's able to think past those two things.
And you know what? What Janelle just said, the pathway to citizenship. If someone's been here 20, 30 years, never did a crime, shouldn't they get citizenship? But the flip side is, just because you lived here 20 years and you lived here illegally, now you can call somebody else in your family and they come up here and stay 20 years and live illegally and get a free citizenship. There has to be a better way, because you don't want to, scapegoat people, like you said, and you want to show mercy. Because allegedly they say we're a country of immigrants, but that's not true, because we have descendants of the enslaved African living in this country. So how do you balance both without being exploited? Because the powers to be want to keep black and white and brown and yellow, keep us all fighting among ourselves for the scraps, while they continue to be on top.
And
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So if you challenge that status quo, well, you can be like Dr. King, you can be like President Kennedy, you can be like the brother Robert, Kennedy Sr. You can be like one of the Black Panthers.
Yeah.
So, you know, you do have a choice in this country of freedom of speech, and you also have a choice on how you want to die in this country.
Yeah.
And so I also want to make this point. It shouldn't simply be brown and black people we see getting deported. There's a lot of Germans. There's a lot of Russians. There's a lot of former Czechoslovakians. There are a lot of Italians. There are a ton of people who have overstayed their visas that are undocumented and illegal as hell at this point. This narrative should not say, they're actually the biggest population of undocumented illegal people. So this narrative should not be simply flipped on its head and talked about and spun up as though it's only brown people that are undocumented in America. That's the small minority of this whole issue.
You know,
I
it's
need to
funny
make sure.
because I'm sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm just saying we need to make sure that everybody's getting some. The motherfuckers from Canada that are here undocumented, they need to get deported as well. Everybody needs to get deported. Everybody.
And you know
But
what?
you know, it's funny because I know we ain't talked about the tariffs. I don't know if we're gonna get to it in this show, but
We'll
the
jump on in
narrative
this.
for issuing the tariffs for Mexico and Canada was based on the import of illegal fentanyl, and immigrants. So the narrative itself was based on fentanyl import, which I guess from both. I don't know too many Canadians sneaking into America, so I'm gonna assume that the immigration part is based on Mexico, the brown people.
So I see Myra Kay says on the TV they show us black and brown, and she's right. She's right. And that you're right as well. We don't hear a lot of emphasis on those coming from Europe or Africa or Asia who are here illegally. Because when we talk about the farm fields, we talk about the hotel industry or the restaurant industry. Only thing we see in there are brown people. We don't see a lot of black Dominican. Well, wait a minute. Outside of Florida, we don't see a lot of black or Europeans that we would question to be illegal working in those kitchens or in those farm fields, especially here in California.
Yeah.
Especially here in California. All that farmland in Central California, to me, it looks like slavery.
I've seen
That's
it.
how I feel.
I've seen it when I stayed down at Fort Hunter Liggett. I've seen it driving past the fields. I've seen the brothers out there killing it.
The buses come,
Yeah.
drop off, buses come,
Yep.
take them back. It's like it's sad, man.
It looks like slavery.
Yeah, I do agree. We need more controlled borders. I agree with that. We also need to treat the people that are here more humane. Some of them come with some great ideals. I know that's why they talked about the H-1B visas, right? If you have a skill that America wants, come over. That's okay. That's cool. But we've had some Einstein. Einstein was an immigrant that came and helped us with the Manhattan Project, right? And that's just one off the top of my head.
No, that was I'm thinking of the other German, von Brauner. He was like a brilliant space with the space rockets.
Yeah.
But wait a minute. See, this is where nothing with the Republican Party. They got caught. The Republicans who were trying to make all the money, Elon Musk, bring over those Indian engineers. I have a problem with that. And as that black man on CNN, that black Republican said, "Oh no, you don't. If you say America first, Donald Trump, then let it be America first."
Hey, Elon Musk said he'll fight y'all motherfuckers tooth and nail. He bringing them. They coming.
Yeah. Elon said, "Come on." He said, "Come on."
Hold on, don't do that. Don't do that. Because hold on, wait a minute. Y'all laughing. He says that he wasn't being racist.
I'm waiting to see where you're going with this.
Like, come on, go what you got. I'm listening.
Well, because the girl on CNN, she went off, and she's Jewish. She went off. She got into it with Scott Jennings.
Yeah, because he tried to cover.
Look, I don't trust Elon Musk. So when you say Donald Trump, you're gonna clean up the border, I said, okay, let me see. And then you do all this crazy stuff, so you're trying. But when you say you're gonna still allow people to come over with those HS1 visas, whatever, from India, first thing I said to myself, if you said there weren't enough smart black folks in America, Yeah, that's something I would believe you would say. However, you're telling me you don't have enough smart white people in this country to run these engineering jobs? Oh, that's how you feel about your own white people? Really, Donald Trump?
Look,
I thought it was America first.
hey, Elon said, to hell with that. Americans are stupid and lazy. He bringing his partners through.
Well, tell you what, Elon, if you were so good, why don't you stay back in South Africa?
This guy.
Thanks for nothing. I glass you. I gave Richard a gas can. Elon, you know somebody. Listen,
I still love he knocks him down.
look,
Oh,
I don't trust Elon Musk, and I don't know why.
he's
So,
an apartheid baby. That's why. You
okay.
can't trust that
Well, they had
motherfucker.
his daddy
Mandela
on
died
Chris Cuomo.
fighting against them. Mandela died fighting against his family.
Watch
To
that
hell.
hand.
I know,
that
right?
hand.
I'm doing
It's high. It's a little high.
camera. I'm doing this. I'm doing this off camera. That guy's an apartheid baby. His family believes in it. They come from
Well,
blood.
wait a minute. But Fat, his daddy was on Chris Cuomo, and his daddy said that he was part of helping fight against apartheid. He said that on video.
That's a rebrand of history. That's what that is. They are blood diamond people. Elon's not a genius. And I don't trust him either. I can't trust him. He's not putting Americans first. He doesn't care to. He's got no loyalty to anybody except for himself. And then the people who he makes gestures for. And that's it. He's not a good looking. He should not have that position. He is not an American citizen by blood. This dude is an apartheid baby who believes in the principles of apartheid, him and his people. Fuck him. I will get in trouble for that, and I'm okay with it. I'll take those consequences.
Hey, I'm just saying, when I watched on Chris Cuomo last night or the night before, his daddy came on with Chris. They talked for a while. His daddy tried to say that he wasn't giving out the Heil Hitler, and that his daddy was against apartheid and blah 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 back in South Africa. If you're saying that there's information, factual information,
I've already read it.
okay.
I've already been through it. I've read it. Just like I saw how he got his money, just like I figured out that his mom went up to Canada. He moved to Canada with his mother. That's because, remember, we were looking up to see when he ended up getting his actual citizenship.
Yeah, I remember.
That's when I started reading about it. He's an apartheid baby. No ifs, ands, about it. That's what he is. That's what he believes in. That's what Nelson Mandela and everybody down there, Bishop and that's what they were fighting against. And he's bringing that shit over here as if we already don't have enough stuff we got to fight against. And now, just so Americans understand this, he's bringing the visas over here because he's going to push your ass out of jobs too. Just like Trump got the $20 billion so that they can begin to build the freaking data centers. Who's going to work them? I know he ain't going to let his visa people work it. Your ass that's already struggling is going to end up making $5 an hour because that's what you begun to vote for. That's what you're putting your power to. They're pushing you out of your positions as Americans, and you don't even see it. People don't even see this shit. Vivek Ramaswamy had to leave because he understood he wanted to bring his Indian counterparts over. Elon pushed his ass out.
But hold on, Elon wants to bring over the Indian engineers.
He wants to bring the ones that he wants that are connected with his folks. That's the issue as well. Okay. They're pushing Americans out. That's my issue.
Okay, well then you and I agree that I don't want to see, and I'm not trying to be precious against people coming over here legally. What I'm simply saying is, Donald Trump, if you say America first, then back it up with your mouth, with your actions. Back it up. And you are not backing it up by bringing people over.
The definition of America was made on being a melting pot. Okay. We are a land, the freaking Statue of Liberty talks about bring your weak, bring whoever. We are the land of the brave, right? We could take them, mold them into great Americans because we are a melting pot. And America is not it's not one race. It's a diversity set with a goal to live your life with freedom and liberties to do that. So when we start talking about American only, man, if you look throughout the world, man, that's something we've always stood against. But now the language is changing to America only.
Well, wait a minute. I think it's a little bit, and I'm not good at this. I think it's a little bit more complicated because you want America to come first, but you also have to interact with the world. But unfortunately, our first big interaction with the world was in the 90s when President Clinton did that NAFTA, and that took away all of our manufacturing jobs. And they said, well, we're going to replace those manufacturing jobs with computer jobs. And I knew in my heart, I said, that's a lie. That's an absolute lie. They're not going to do that. That's going to cause problems.
Also, let me be clear. I wasn't saying fuck the POTUS. It was about Elon Musk. I just wanted to make sure I made that
We understand.
Yeah, I just wanted to be sure that shit was clear because I'm sure I hear about it at work. Like, hey, you got to calm down your rate. No, I'm not
calm down.
No, I mean, look, if you have read information to really convince you that Elon Musk was really, and his family were really supporters of apartheid, I'm not going to argue that because something doesn't feel right about him. So when he talks about, when I would put up stuff on Twitter, they would sometimes take my stuff down or they'd warn me. But when he took over, I kind of got more room. And even though one time they said when he had taken over, oh, we're going to put your post down. And I explained to him why I put the N space GGER. And I said, I am African-American. I'm bringing attention to this. Then they said, okay, we'll let it stay up. So every time a person says they're for freedom of speech, normally people are for freedom of speech when it benefits them. But when it doesn't benefit them, then they're not for it. So Democrats went too far with Zuckerberg. Now he's trying to come back and support Trump.
He came back hard, bro.
Hella hard.
He came. Joe Rogan podcast and everything. Yeah. But to your point, here's the scary thing about Elon. I know people could debate about his history, family history. All right, cool. The scary thing is our system is a democratic system. Our presidents can only serve 8 years, although that's being challenged. Nonetheless, as it stands, 8 years, right?
Yeah.
We have somebody who's not elected, who is superseding Congress, the president of the United States, our justices, and everything. Elon Musk. This dude is providing things that nations normally provide to others, efforts in warfighting functions, communication over Russia and the Ukrainian war. He's talking to Netanyahu in Israel, making deals on behalf of America. Is this dude, is he Congress? Is he a federal employee? If so, he has to divest from Tesla. Or is he a private citizen acting on behalf of his own goods? That's the question. Currently, he lives in this gray zone. That's the danger. Republican, Democrat, whatever. The next president will be blue, one red, whatever. Elon Musk has staying power as long as he has this money and these connections. And as long as he has that, he can control America how he wants to.
And on that, that's why I'm saying Americans first, right? Because he's not acting in the interest of Americans, just like you pointed out. He can stay in the gray, he can hide in the shadows, so on and so forth, because he has no allegiance. He doesn't have to. He's not taking an oath of an office at all. He's taking an oath to himself, and that's it. So the rest of the American citizenship, the population, we're going to suffer. Like he's talking on behalf of America as if he's an official that has that capacity that should be doing that.
He is an official because they created that. They created that federal. I don't want to say
they repurposed the agency. It was actually pretty slick. It was really slick.
Perfect.
It was really
That's
slick.
correct.
When I saw that, I was like, oh, bravo. You got me.
But absolutely right. They repurposed it.
They did.
My thing is,
to your point, Donald had to give up. The president, he had to give up his control of his multiple businesses.
No, he did not.
He was president.
He did not divest himself in 2016. No, he did not.
He was supposed to put it in a trust.
He didn't.
And whether he did or not,
he didn't. In fact, he didn't. He was the first president. He was the first U.S. president to not divest himself of his business interests because they said, well, it's by tradition, by protocol. He said, I ain't doing any of that.
I ain't doing it.
And then he had his hotel with his name on it, that when the government officials from other countries would come to see him in the White House, they would stay at his hotel.
Pay me that per diem.
Take a picture right here next to the Trump sign, please. Now he was supposed to, he didn't. Right. So now is that liberty granted to Elon?
Yes.
If he is a federal employee,
Yes. That's what they're
So-
doing. I'm not saying it's
so
right.
people can't-
I'm just saying
no, I feel you, but that's what they're doing. Yeah.
he did it in 2016. They took a shot at him in the summer of 24. He survived.
Yeah.
Whether it was a real shot or a fake shot, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Because half my friends say they tried to shoot him, and my other half say it was staged. At this point, we can read stuff off the internet, and we don't know if it's telling us 100% truth, 100% lie, or that mix.
Well, I tell you what, they've gotten rid of fact checking, and anything or any entity, any organization that would be able to fact check against him, he has directly curbed. So I'm just
Off the federal agencies, you mean?
he's curbing them. So pushing forward real quick. We got a little time left. It's up to y'all. I don't know how y'all feeling. I know I got to get up a little early, but not too early, and it's only 10:25 out here. I don't go to sleep until I finish talking to Maya. So
I could do one more. What topic y'all want to hit?
hey, we got
DEI.
okay. We'll go DEI. I had tariffs at the bottom. But
Hold
we
on.
will switch.
Let me put
over.
Richard's favorite hat on. My,
All right.
I know he loves this hat,
I am not a
boy.
Republican.
He loves this joker.
Hey, you know that's defamation. I am not a
Oh.
Republican. I'm not.
It's
You'll
the
never find a Republican voters registration card with me. But I'm not a Democrat either. So
Yeah. So here we go. DEI. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. The repeal and replace of DEI. Get your diversity, equity, and inclusion ass on out of here. Not in my government. There's only two.
Well, hold on. This is where it gets tricky
Does it though?
because they stopped it for college education. You can't use it as one of the factors.
That's affirmative
But-
action. That was affirmative action.
DEI, affirmative action, it's all together.
No,
So-
it's two different things. It's various two. It's two different.
Well, listen to this.
I see what he's getting at, though. It is two different things, but
They kind of the same thing.
foundation
But
of
listen
the
to this.
ideology. Yeah. I see what he's
Hold
saying.
on.
Okay.
But the Supreme Court said, and I told y'all this months ago,
Yeah.
the Supreme Court said we won't have this affirmative action for our colleges.
Yeah.
But for the military, we'll keep it there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's DEI basically saying that we want to have our military academies have so many minorities in it. See, Trump couldn't get everything he wanted. So while he's doing this at the federal level about getting rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion, you didn't get rid of it at the military academies.
Well,
Because
they
the
can't.
Supreme Court wouldn't get rid of it.
I tell you what, they can't do anymore. They're not teaching about the Tuskegee Airmen at the Air Force College.
Yeah, they took them out.
Yeah.
That hurt my heart. That hurt big time, man. That hurt. That really hurt.
Well, did they all the names of the Confederate generals from the Civil War, when they removed those names from the bases and forts, are those names being returned back now?
I don't know. I think that there was a push to probably bring them back. I'm not 100% sure.
I heard that money was a factor in that.
Yeah, the money is going to be an issue. And also, even if they did, I don't understand why. That'd be weird to me. I don't know. I don't understand America's fascination with celebrating traitors.
You know why I laugh? Because this country will never be able. If you start your country on some, on a good idea of the quote democratic republic, but you got all these other character thoughts as part of your foundation, it's just a matter of time.
That's it.
Just a matter of time.
That's it. And let's be honest about DEI, because it has led to boycotts, and the reason why it's led to Target, Walmart, McDonald's,
Explain that.
Lowe's.
What do you mean? What do you mean it's led to boycotts? What do you mean by that?
It's led to boycotts because what's happened under the DEI and the removal of the DEI, the rollback of DEI with major corporations is they will no longer make sure that a certain segment of people are equally explored contracts, right? So it's going to go back to a certain demographic of people who will be able to win contracts. Now, I'm all for the boycotts. I'm gonna say that. Amazon, yeah, thank you, Maya. I'm all for the boycotts, but I've been for the boycotts, right? I've said on multiple different occasions that we need to get back to figuring out how to be inclusive, how to sustain ourselves. $1.98 billion, and none of it's coming to us. So necessity is the mother of all invention. So absolutely, DEI, roll it back, make us boycott, make us spend our money on ourselves, right? And I'm for the boycotts. Put it back into our community. For the people who are saying, well, I've got product in that store, right? Maya made a great point when we were talking, and I wanted to make a point that I said this. When you had your products in that store and you knew that they were rolling back DEI so that other people couldn't get their product in that store or win contracts, what was the conversation like at that point? What was the conversation as to why are you removing this thing that's assisting? Why are you hurling us back into a position that we don't want to be in? What's the big thing about not wanting to put everybody on an equal playing field?
Wait a minute.
Go ahead.
A percentage, in my opinion, in my unprofessional opinion, a percentage of white America says that we shouldn't have to provide you equity to in order to get you to the equality standard.
I agree.
Right. So you can't treat two people equally if they both get started at the same point. And so a percentage of white America says, well, that was many years ago. We are way past that now. We have to stop giving you all this extra stuff, this extra incentive, these extra advantages that we don't have. Everybody should be judged on their ability and not based on their race.
I agree.
Okay. So when you say about equality, this is where I said, if your foundation was never equal to begin with, I don't think you can ever get equality without providing equity. And when you provide equity, then it's going to tilt back the other way. So because you started wrong, you're going to end wrong. Unless
I think equality will eventually get there. It's a process of evolution for people in a society for it to happen. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen under a short span of 400, 500 years, right? But I do agree with a few points. First off, DEI didn't hurt us as bad as they thought it would. It hurt white women the most. The absolute most. White women were on top in DEI.
And that's never reported, though. That's never reported.
Not like that. It hasn't been. But that's who's going to suffer the most. We were literally, our community is literally the last and least group that benefited from DEI as a whole.
But it's never sold like that on TV. They always say always makes you.
They thought it was us, but it was them.
But if white women or a percentage of white women who benefited from DEI don't ever acknowledge that, then that lie will continue that only black people were benefiting from DEI.
And it's too late now. They voted against their own interests, and now they're out. And I look.
And what's that? When you get
I'm giving them rounds of applause. I'm giving them rounds of applause for voting against their own interest. And what I hope
there's links that state that white women were benefiting more from DEI than
anybody else. Absolutely. It's researchable. Okay. There's a list that shows, and even vets, because it affects veterans as well.
Okay.
For small businesses. I think vets were number 7, and number 8 on the list of benefiting from DEI, but they've taken it away from us.
Okay.
They've taken it away from us because they thought that they were hurting us. And so what I hope happens is that our boycott, we take our monies out of these institutions and they're not able to employ us. And I hope, again, necessity becomes the mother of invention and we create our own from that adversity. Nobody wanted to listen to me when I was saying this shit, and we could have been doing it easily.
Well, no, because other people have said about black people, working together and creating our own industry. So we know about the Tulsa situation. Black folks were really on top of the game, and then it all went downhill because of one allegation. And then if you have 10 black businesses and 8 are high quality, but that one does some slick stuff, it destroys what the other 8 or 9 have done. It just takes one black business to destroy what the rest of the black businesses have done.
Yeah.
But the question is, why is that? Look at what Bernie Madoff did.
Yeah.
That one, but it didn't destroy all of them.
Now, me, in my mindset, in my unprofessional opinion, I would say, because they were never judged for being inferior. But when you come to a country as a slave and you're valued as less than property, as a piece of property. So when they tell you, well, there was slavery throughout all of the world, but yet the slavery in the Bible, master in the Bible wasn't going and raping his servant that was enslaved for 7 years.
If he did, the Bible also carries consequences on a lot of different things, except for it looks different when the Bible talks about slavery, a man having a maid servant, and if he enters her, but she actually is married to somebody else, it's got different consequences that run with it, right? He owes something a little bit different. But I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
Oh no, you're breaking it down religiously. So what I'm saying is, in America, they always say, well, Richard, slavery happened throughout the whole world. But America refuses to this day to acknowledge, even the liberal whites, in my opinion, a certain percentage of them, that the slavery that was inflicted on the American soil, not down in the Caribbean, I'm talking about on this soil, was the most unique and horrendous, horrifying slavery in the history of mankind. But this country won't acknowledge that. And since they won't acknowledge that, this is why they won't acknowledge that DEI is needed. That's why they'll never acknowledge it is needed. They say, well, all that stuff that happened back then, it all changed. It's all different now. That's been over 100 years ago. But the Jim Crow laws didn't end until the 1960s with President Johnson. But to me, if you start really that wrong and you bring people over and tell them you're just a piece of property, and I can rape you, I can lynch you, I can do anything I want to you anytime I want. And then a war happens, the greatest war on American soil. And then you have people in the South who still say, we should have won that war. You have people down South to this day that wish they had won that war.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Then your country is not truly unified. And at least with President Trump in office, now the whole world knows what Black America's been knowing from the very beginning.
Yeah.
This country was never unified.
No.
I'm gonna speak to the message Zoe just put up that says hate is what gets us in trouble, and I disagree with that at this point. I think at this point in our history, understanding where we are, hate is what's going to keep us safe. Because listen, this is why I hate that the love that I have for my country will never be reciprocated.
Ooh.
I hate that.
But
I hate that I know that at any given moment, or better yet, when my son gets my size and he gets 18, that he's going to be looked at as a threat. Hate's protecting me. I hate the fact that my people have to move through this country the way we have to move through it. I absolutely hate it. There's no love for those ideas. I hate that we have to operate like this, but that hate is what's keeping us safe at this point.
That's heavy.
In trouble.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
Dudes, I'm sorry, I kind of monopolized that a little bit. What you got?
No, you guys hit on all the points, man. Yeah, if I said anything, I'd be rehashing what you already said, or both of you guys said. You guys hit on everything.
Well, hell.
Well, look at the good point. Everybody in the world knows what we're really about now in America. That's good. Everybody knows that President Trump will be termed out. He won't get a third term.
We don't know. No, I'm so serious.
Right. I know, that's why it's so hilarious, because it's a possibility.
No, it is it's a legit. He's actually he has people looking at that amendment to see how, because I mean, let's not forget, FDR served 4 terms, right? So if he can verbally create the same conditions that had FDR approved for those additional 2 terms.
But no, there was no term limits until after FDR. There was no term limits until after FDR.
Until after.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, no, I thought the term limits were.
No, it's before.
Was it
Hold on.
before?
It was before. It was before. Let's look this up real quick. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to FDR right now. Hold on.
Okay.
3rd and 4th terms. Hold on here. Shoot. He won his 3rd term in He won his 3rd term in the 1940. He remains the only president to serve more than 2 terms.
Okay.
Unlike his first 2 terms.
No, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Roosevelt's 3rd and 4th were dominated by foreign. Yeah, I think the terms came after him.
Yeah, February 27th, 1951.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, after FDR. Okay.
Yeah, because they were mad because he had stayed in so long, but.
1951. Man,
it was an unofficial thing from Washington because he didn't go past 2, right? Or 1, but it was unofficial since Washington. FDR was the first one to say, "Hey, let me see."
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Again, I always respect the seat, the office of the president of the United States of America. I always respect that position. I don't have to always agree with what's coming out of it. However, my disagreement is not going to commit me or make me commit a foolish action in dissension towards that position. Now, I'm not finna Snoop Dogg it or Nelly it. I tell you that.
Oh, wait a minute. So you disagree with them going to perform at the?
Absolutely.
Yeah, especially.
Okay.
I think Snoop the most.
Because he was talking so much against Donald Trump years ago.
Yeah.
But when Donald Trump let out the co-founder of Death Row, then Snoop had a different opinion. Remember, before Donald Trump left office, he let out the co-founder of Death Row. So a lot of times when we say that Donald Trump is racist, but then sometimes he hooks up black folks. He's a tricky one. He's tricky.
He's not tricky. All he's doing is
slippery.
He's just trying to make sure he does just enough good to keep just enough of us.
Well,
saying just enough good
in
things.
order for me to help the people in the state of California, I'm gonna have to deal with him one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
I'd rather deal with Donald Trump. At least when he cursed me out, he's gonna curse me out to my face. That I can respect.
Who is?
Trump. President Trump.
That ain't what that's not what was happening though, because Newsom was like, pull up, and he wouldn't. But when he got off that plane in California, he ain't even tell Newsom he was gonna be there.
Tarmac.
Yeah, Newsom met him on the tarmac.
Meet me on the tarmac.
Yeah, and called him, brought him in. It was like, hey, what's all that you was talking there, young man?
Trust me. When I meet Gavin Newsom, if you think he'll put his hand on my chest, think again. Think again. Trust me.
You ain't gonna swing. You ain't gonna swing. Okay. You ain't gonna swing.
Okay.
You can be like, what's up, Galvin? Let me holler at you. I'm gonna put up the Sacramento Bee. It's gonna be a picture of Rich and Galvin.
Oh man.
I tell you what, if I get my people paid their money, you're right. But if you try, see, he's the one that ran me out of my position. So no, I ain't forgot anything. So y'all think that I'm just laughing and playing?
That's
Y'all
why.
y'all obviously ain't seen me. Let me put it to you like this: there are people in positions in the California government that I had got into it with, and I didn't back up at all. So when y'all see me getting loud and getting emotional, this ain't no front. I'm going at people right in their face. Ain't no, I don't have no fear. Not on this, I don't, because I'm not lying and I'm not trying to benefit myself. People say that Donald Trump's a racist. He tries to benefit himself. He's a massive narcissist. At times, he is.
You can't turn
I don't have that problem. So when I tell you that Gavin Newsom's slick and he's really no different than Donald Trump,
I believe he's slick. I believe he's slick. Yeah.
So when I saw him put his hand on Donald Trump's chest like that, maybe he wasn't going off the way the media is presenting him, that he was trying to challenge him. I don't know.
We couldn't hear what was being said.
Right. But I think if you would have been talking shit
that you were here. I'm glad I said he could have been like, I am so happy that you are here. Thank you for coming.
Only thing I can say is if you challenge a man in front of his woman, you'll get the very best from that man. I believe that.
If that man throw hands.
So
I don't know.
I don't know, but I can guarantee you'll never see Gavin Newsom put his hand on my chest like that, because I was like, man, what you doing?
You know what? Alonzo.
In fact,
Alonzo hit something right here. That's a true point.
Yeah,
Trump,
it is.
I would say this: he's a fighter. I think that's universally accepted.
Who, for Trump?
I don't know. Yeah, universally, I think you could say he's a fighter.
Yeah, he made history.
On the left can counter him.
Not physically.
No, not physically. No,
right. But
he's let's say a scrapper. But no one who's on the left has that mentality.
Yeah, that tenacity. Yeah.
He made history by being only the second person to not do 2 consecutive terms.
I mean, do you want to make history with Clover? I can't remember his name.
And Donald Trump, but listen to this. When Donald Trump ran his Apprentice show, everybody thought he was just playing, trying to make money. Well, he was trying to make money, but the show was really about him and his mindset. And if you look at his presidential terms, he's his own apprentice. So every time he was telling them on the show, do this, you didn't do this right, you didn't do that right, he's really talking about himself and his failures and his successes. I know, because I'm a June Gemini just like him. So when June Geminis talk, they're really talking about themselves and everything they've gone through and how it relates to other people. That's a trick to a June Gemini. Sorry, Fat. It's a trick. That's why Fat can count him and know what he's going to do. And same for me, because we know ourselves. At this age in our life, we know who we are. You get in where you fit in. So when he went off about Elon Musk, you see, I backed up because I'm not sure, but you heard absolute affirmative tones. I said, okay.
Yeah.
I said, America likes strength. Hey, but listen, your boy has to. Thankfully, I still have a job to go to. So
you gonna be down at that border.
Oh.
Make sure they send you down there.
Hey, you talking about? Yeah, I go to south from the border every Taco Tuesday. Yeah.
Hey, yeah, you better stop doing that. You better have that military ID on you.
I go to south of the border every Taco Tuesday, man. They have the best salsa.
I wouldn't do that. I'd stay on this side of the border. It ain't worth it no more.
Oh, that's a little restaurant down the street, south of the border, man. I go there every Tuesday.
All right.
We're going to get final thoughts in here real quick. Rich, we'll start with you. We highlight your final thoughts.
So I'll make it quick. I had a great time this evening, and I hope that everyone feels love and respect in this country, whether you're here legally or illegally, it doesn't matter. I wish the country nothing but success, but we have to address some things from our past, and hopefully we can address these things from our past by being civil and talking and respecting others. That's it.
All right. Deuce, Heading south of
Yeah, I'm
to the border.
South of the border, man. Listen, they have great margaritas and the tacos are half price. You know, I'm always looking for a deal, baby. Rich, love when you on the show, man. You bring that energy, man. You get my cholesterol, my sciatica acting up over here, man. I want to say it's about civil discord. I also want to say it's about appropriate action, man. Whether you like to say that America's going or you don't like to say that America is going, there's a democratic process to voice your opinion and to try to make a change. Let's exercise that, right? Let's not sit on our hands wishing something's going to change. Exercise your right.
All right. And so my final thoughts of the night, I wrote this down while we were talking. I generally don't do that, but I had to this time. My final thought is be mindful of how you treat the migrant seeking refuge in your country. Depending on how your country is acting, you may soon find yourself that very migrant in someone else's country.
Okay.
So,
I mean, you're right. I mean, the Secret Service detail was pulled from Fauci, pulled from, I can't think of the old Secretary of State. Some people who Iran has in their hit list. If they don't feel protected in America, maybe they might go to another country for protection. You never know.
Bolton.
Right?
John Bolton.
Fauci, and Milley.
Milley.
General Milley. Yeah.
And that's personal. That's personal.
That should never be. Like, even the next president that comes in, who, if they don't like Donald Trump, I still don't think they should pull the detail from him. I don't think you could do it from a president, but I'm just saying you shouldn't pull it from former congressional. You did.
Here's your big problem. Biden, when you did a pre-pardon or pardon for your family until they, before they were even charged for anything, when you did that, you made it easy for President Trump to come in and say, all January 6th, all J6, I'm going to pardon you or commute you, and then I'm going to do all this other stuff. He made it real easy for him to do it.
He was saying that on the campaign trail, though. He said that before Biden even uttered a word about pre-pardons. Yeah. And Biden did that because of the threats that Trump was hurling at least at Hunter. I don't know about the rest of his family.
No, that's accurate. That's true. Yeah. Because they were going to go after his family. So he had to pardon. He had to. He didn't have a choice.
I agree.
I wonder if I can buy a pardon on Amazon.
I mean, just wait for a little while. Everything's for sale out here. So
call Elon. I'm sure he's gonna try. Hey,
it's gonna be the next Tesla upgrade.
Elon goes up in space, we're not going with him.
I tell you
what, the chosen ones go up in space. So.
Right. I tell you what, I am happy that President Trump said that he's not working directly for him. He's got to answer to somebody else, and moved him across the street from out the White House.
Oh, he did do that.
I do wonder how long this relationship is going to last.
I do.
That's going to be interesting. The dynamics between, because they're both alphas, so it's going to be interesting.
Well, alphas can work together when it comes to that money. If there's enough money involved, and after he gets all his money in Saudi Arabia, when he build, I think he's trying to build some high rise. In Saudi Arabia or United Arab Emirates, Donald Trump is, and he's doing that now. Wow, he's in the White House.
I think you're right. Making money is not the issue. It's who gets credit for said money. I think that's what's going to be the division.
But to me, it's a no-brainer. Elon Musk can't take credit over the president. No. It's a no-brainer.
Hey, look, I would agree with you on that, Rich, but this is, there are no more rules.
Yeah.
There are no more rules. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. They could be.
I'm not gonna let y'all keep dragging me out.
Listen,
I gotta go.
I know. Get off. Hey, before we get off, let me go turn my TV on so I can watch The Purge.
I know.
Right. Hey, you gotta take notes.
Exactly. Well, good people, as always, you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you decided to hang out with us. We absolutely appreciate it. And thank you for it. So with that being said, thank y'all for coming out. God bless and good night.
Good night. Have a good night, everyone.